Project Zomboid is brutal. One mistake and you're done. But we're not going to be going over normal deaths in Project Zomboid. We're going to be going over the dumbest ways to die in Project Zomboid. But before we start the video, make sure you guys go check out the Discord. The link will be in the description. Without further ado, let's jump straight into this. Number 10. Leaving the oven on too long. Now, this definitely isn't a very common death in Project Zomboid. Especially if you're an experienced player, you know not to leave that oven on. If you leave the oven on too long in Project Zomboid, it will start a fire. So now instead of calmly enjoying your toast on the couch, you're now witnessing your entire base go up in flames. And as you desperately try to put out the flames, your character starts burning, everything's madness, it's chaotic. You're desperately trying not to lose your gear, all your hard-earned progress, and boom, your character has now burned to death. All because you just wanted a piece of toast. Now, this has never personally happened to me, but I've seen it happen to people time and time again. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, this is one of the dumbest ways to die in the zombie apocalypse. I believe a fire can start if you put something metal in the microwave as well. But yeah, this is definitely not the way you want to go out in Project Zomboid. Not only is it a brutal death, but you just lose all of your progress as well. All your items, everything you worked hard for is now gone. So whatever you do, make sure you turn that oven off. Number 9. Death by a digital watch alarm. So if you didn't know, digital watches can have an alarm set on them. And most of the time, you're going to be picking up a digital watch off of a corpse or in a drawer. Now, once again, many experienced players are already going to know about this. But for many new players, they most likely don't even notice this. Until that is, they're out looting late at night in Louisville. And, oh, what's that sound? Oh yeah, it's the alarm that I never set and is now beeping and attracting every single zombie in the entire area. Now, this is a very situational thing that can happen. But if you're somehow in a high population area and a digital watch alarm goes off, you might as well go ahead and just quit the game because your character is dead. Now, even then, I can see some people getting out of this situation, especially more experienced players. It's probably pretty easy to just go outside and start walking in a circle. But if you have no idea what you're doing, this is one of the dumbest ways to die in Project Zomboid. Number 8. Death by someone else's driving. Oh my god, this one gets me every single time. This has probably happened to me the most out of any. And it's just simply that the person who happens to be driving sucks at driving. And I know that there has to be more of you out there that this has happened to as well. You just happen to be the passenger and you're going out, you're looting things, you're doing things in the world. And the person who is driving keeps slamming into every little thing. Oops, I hit a sign. Oops, I hit the car on the road. Oops, I hit the zombie. Oops, now I accidentally slammed into the wall at 100 miles an hour. And there it is. You're dead because of someone else's decisions. And if you're not dead, you're at least critically injured. This has got to be one of the dumbest ways to die in Project Zomboid. Like, you're not even in control of what happens. You're just along for the ride and the driver just happens to get into a bad situation or a bad crash. And they don't necessarily have to even be a bad driver. They could just happen to turn around the wrong corner and a horde surrounds your car. Or they happen to get their car stuck in a bad position and you can't get out of the car. Let me know down in the comments if somebody's ever got you guys killed. Number 7. Death from tainted water. Now, once again, this has never personally happened to me, and I'm sure a lot of experienced players really never have to deal with this, but for you newer players out there, I can definitely say this has happened to a few of you. So obviously drinking water that is quote-unquote tainted is not good for you. But surprisingly, you can actually get by from just drinking from the source. That being like a lake, pond, or a river. You might be a little bit sick, but you're gonna be alright as long as you don't drink too much. But the moment you put that tainted water inside of a container, you're cooked. Do not ever drink tainted water from a container in Project Zomboid. I don't know what the deal is, but the moment you put that water inside of a water bottle, do not drink it. It's like your character secretly put cyanide in it or something. And this can definitely mislead a lot of new players, because I'm assuming they're thinking, oh, I can drink it from the source, I can drink just a little bit from the bottle, right? Nope, the moment you take a sip out of that bottle, you pretty much just drank poison. Now, it won't always 100% kill you, but you get pretty dang close. And this is definitely one of the dumbest ways to die in Project Zomboid, because it's so easy to just go put the bottle in a microwave. Now, I can understand for some kind of challenge run, this would be a lot more difficult. But if you're just playing the base game of Project Zomboid, there should never be a reason you don't have access to clean water. I mean, it's one of the easiest things to get in the game as long as you have a source. This is not only dumb because of the mechanics behind it, but it's also dumb because you just made a super dumb decision. But yeah, let me know if you've ever died from tainted water. Come on guys, be honest in the comments. Number 6. Death by pausing. So this death is more specifically for the multiplayer side of the game. because when you technically pause in multiplayer, the game doesn't pause. But if you ever go AFK in Project Zomboid and you die, it's probably one of the worst feelings and the dumbest ways to die in the game. And the way I see this most likely happening is that you somehow go AFK in the base and a zombie creeps up on you. Since the zombies are so dynamic in Project Zomboid, they're always moving across the map. Even if you're in the wilderness, you really never know if there's gonna be a zombie around. And let's say you just happen to go take a really long bathroom break. And when you get back from the bathroom break, your character's just reanimated as a zombie walking around your base. This is probably one of the worst ways to die in Project Zomboid and definitely one of the most frustrating. Once again, it's not a very common death, but dang, it's a really frustrating one. And it's definitely dumb. Number 5. Getting eaten to death while reading a book. Now once again, this is very similar to number 6 in that your character is completely standing still. But believe it or not, you can always get caught off guard in Project Zomboid. And if you happen to be reading a book in the wrong place, it's entirely possible a zombie or two could sneak up behind you. And all it takes is one bite or a really bad scratch and you're kaput. So if you're gonna read books in Project Zomboid, at least make sure you're doing it at your base. That way it'll definitely minimize the risk of a zombie creeping up on you. And man, dude, sometimes those zombies can be really sneaky. Sometimes I swear I hear no sound at all and a zombie just appears behind me and gets a free bite in. But yeah, this is definitely another dumb way to die in Project Zomboid, and all just because you were trying to read into those skills. Number 4. Death from opening a door with a horde behind it. Now this one is definitely a lot more common, I feel like, and it's all dependent on how you have your sandbox settings set up. But for the most part in normal gameplay, the zombie spawns are kind of brutal, and you're going to be hearing a lot of zombies banging on the doors. And usually you could open the doors with no problem. It's just 1 or 2 zombies that you can quickly get rid of. But there's always that chance that when you open that door, there's 10 to 20 zombies waiting there for you. And if you don't act fast, you can get pulled down very quickly and insta-killed just like that. And this has got to be one of the dumbest ways to die in Project Zomboid. And all because you got caught off guard for thinking it was only 1 to 2 zombies behind the door. But yeah, let me know down in the comments if you guys have ever had this happen to you. Number 3. Death from darkness. So in build 42, they decided to change the lighting. And this still does apply for build 41, but it's definitely worse in build 42. And I'm sure many of us have definitely died this way. And it's either due to the fact that you don't have a flashlight, or you put your flashlight down while trying to loot something. But we all know how this goes. You're out looting at night, just doing your thing. There's no noise in the building whatsoever, so you decide to put your flashlight down. And while you're looting, boom, a zombie comes up and bites you. And that's all it takes. Because like I said earlier, sometimes the zombies just seem to be stealthy as hell. But yeah, the darkness is definitely worse in build 42, so you want to make sure that you have a flashlight on you at all times. But even in build 41, sometimes the zombies can just sneak up on you. And getting munched on while in the dark sounds like a good time, it's not a fun time in Project Zomboid. And it's definitely one of the dumbest ways to die. Number 2. Dying from a laceration or a scratch. So if you guys didn't know, if you get a scratch or a laceration, there's always a small chance you will get infected from that. And I personally didn't know this until I died from it. I always thought that it was only bites that could get you infected in Project Zomboid. Now yes, theoretically there is a setting that lets you turn it to saliva only, meaning that you can't get infected from scratch or lacerations. But if you happen to be playing with the vanilla settings, scratch and lacerations are just as equally dangerous. And I definitely know it's happened to quite a few of you out there. You end up dealing with a ton of zombies, one gets the better of you and accidentally scratches you on your left pinky, and the next day you're like, why is my character feeling sick? And then you realize, oh my god, I got infected. This is for sure one of the most dumb ways to die in Project Zomboid. And it's personally why I changed the settings to saliva only, because even though it's a super small chance that you'll get infected from a laceration or a scratch, it's still just a really cheap way to die, and it's definitely frustrating. And finally, number 1, death by a house alarm. Now, I definitely know that this has happened to a lot of you watching this video. You know, you're just out looting, doing your thing. You try to open a window, it won't open. So you decide to break the glass and hop in the window, right? Everything's gonna be fine and dandy. Until you hear the godforsaken sound of that house alarm. And now you're panicking. You're either gonna do one of 2 things. You're either gonna try to stay and loot and get as much as you can before the zombies show up, or you're gonna hightail it out of there and book it as far as you can. Now, the second option is definitely a better idea. You have a way better chance of surviving if you just hightail it out of that area. But with newer players, I see that they try to hunker down and hide from the zombies like they won't know where they are. And just like with anything in Project Zomboid, you're gonna get overwhelmed quickly. And dying from a house alarm in Project Zomboid has gotta be one of the dumbest ways to die in the game. And yeah, guys, if you haven't joined the Discord, go join it. Link will be in the description. And if you think I missed any dumb ways to die, go ahead and let me know down in the comments your dumbest way to die in Project Zomboid. But anyways, guys, peace out.